he listened. I remember him actually taking an handkerchief to wipe his tears because of the trouble and the problem of the people of Ukambani. And he called out one gentleman who was in charge of one of the department. His name is Mutua Kilaka. And he told him, I think we need to deal with this issue of Ukambani and water, and we must reallocate 2 billion shillings that had been removed from the budget so that it gets back and the community of Ukambani can benefit. He is a Luo, he is a national leader, and he's dealing with people that have nothing to do with this community. 2 days later, and I have put this in my book, 2 days later, we started receiving phone calls from a different local leader. And the question was, why did you go to Baba, who is a Luo, and not come to me so that I can deal with the issues of the community? And it was shocking. I wondered, where has the Luo come from? Where is the Kamba coming from? Where is the community suffering by getting the 2 billion water bowsers that he gave and all that? And I realized that, one, it is not that that leader does not want the 2 billion in the community. It is not that he doesn't want the water. It is not that he doesn't want a development in the area. But there are other pushes. This could end up being a political party. This could end up supporting Raila instead of the community. This could not end up. Forces for leadership and the hunger for leadership in a manner that does not make sense. And my appeal to the nation today, to every leader, everyone wants their community to succeed. Can we, for heaven's sake, put aside these issues that we want everything to be me, and if it is not me, it has to be me. And nothing. That selflessness, we need to give it up and honor Raila with it. Because you try to imagine what makes leaders not speak in one language, and you find it is so trivial. We forget that we are immortal. We are mortal in this kind of a situation. Therefore, we must act knowing that tomorrow is better. Make decisions that are anchored on the success of tomorrow more than what we are looking at today. Looking at a bigger strategic direction that helps us. Because everyone wants success for their own. Even that kind of a case that I'm sharing, which I have said, I've written in my book, it's not that they don't want it. But there are other forces. Who are you listening to? They say what?
They look at it from the political lenses.
That is where now we need to look at. If Raila was jailed for 9 years, if he stood for everything else, departing even from his family for that entire period, why wouldn't leaders give it up today so that they can be honored in the same way that they are here? What do you gain when you lose everything else in the name of trying to be a politician? And I think that is what I'm calling reimagination of who we are, what we are. Every community, every leader needs to speak in one language. Kenya has got everything that is enough for each one of us today that we can be able to count.
At its disposal, of course, the pool of professionals that can be tapped into.
True.
And a while ago, Daktari, we have seen the arrivals of leaders and the presence of the Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino, as you can see, arriving at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, where today's final grand send-off to mark the end of an era of the former Prime Minister will be happening. Also, minutes ago, before him, was the arrival of nominated Senator Hezina Lameletian, who was one of the young voices that Odinga had given the political platform, the party nominating her to the Senate. And of course, the whole host of the leadership from the ODM party and across the political divide that is present at the Jaramogi Odinga University of Science and Technology. And our quintet of Laura Otieno, Seth Olale, Stephen Leto, Emmanuel To, and Sam Gituku will be giving us an update as we also seek the account of Dr. Isaac Kalua Green, the Chief Steward of Green Africa Group and author, also an ecopreneur who remembers Raila Odinga here in studio. A day that also marks the end of an era for the former Prime Minister, who will be laid to rest at the Kango Ka Jaramogi in Bondo, the county of Siaya. These are the live pictures coming to you from the institution where this function is underway. And just as the case was in Nairobi and in Kisumu counties, it is also one that is underpinned by the beauty of culture and tradition, a blend that is, as you can witness, marks the end of an era, as we had titled it, members of the security service keeping a close eye, hawk-eyed, as they are to sieve the leaders from any other person who has not been approved to be taking his or her seat at the dais where the leadership is meant to be seated. Dr. let's proceed. And certainly, as you have talked about, a person who was never defined by the quest for tribal politics and the cocoonism that has been present in our political arena, but rather by the big vision of leading the country and the people, which explains why there is so much love for him, yes, cutting across generations and regions in the country. Ideally then, how will the new Kenya after Odinga be politically, socially, economically, and even you as a player within the spheres of the environment?
Allow me to look at it from the angle of what it should be, as opposed to what it will be. Mm-hmm. Because what it will be speculation.
Yeah.
And I want to bring it out at a level what it should be. I just arrived from a trip from Japan. Mm-hmm. And I met a very able leader, the ambassador, our Kenyan ambassador, yeah, to Japan, a very responsible person, experienced with a lot of system, a great reader, and a person who believes in systems. And he told me how Kenya is benefiting out of efforts that Kenya government has been able to deal with, yeah, in terms of JICA and its responsibility, funding Kenya with a lot of money in development of Melia volkensi, a tree called Mukau, supporting Kenya Forest Service in a manner that is mind-boggling. And this is a tree that can be able to change this country in our dry lands in a very special way. And Raila was part of the process of negotiating to make sure that this happens. Yeah. I look at a Kenya where leaders would be able to work on systems, on governments, on ODAs to support communities in a manner that's going to change. If Kenya Forest Service and every institutions around that does what JICA expects, Kenya will change. I look at a country that is going to be transformative in every little space. You see, the challenge that we have in Kenya is short-termism. And we tend to deal with issues based on the terms that we have been appointed on, so that the president would think about his 5-year term. Mm-hmm. The PS and the government institutions, their 3-year terms. Mm-hmm. Those who are appointed with the biggest opportunity to have a cabinet secretary position, they think on those positions in a manner that I will go to retire with the leader that appointed me. I look forward to a Kenya where we are looking at issues, at the national strategy. Where did the Vision 2030, which was carrying all of us, go to? What is the strategy that we are working on that's going to change our community? When we talk about livelihoods, when you talk about the border community, I remember Raila working with the former President Kibaki, and I can see the same traits with the current government on supporting the youth with the border space, the growth of that sector. You are touching the lives of the people. You are doing what people would use to place food on the table. I look forward to a country that people forget about their terms as a PS, as a CS, as a leader in a specific place, but look at the bigger picture that is going to change the community. Because the more the community is blessed, the longer you live, the more you enjoy life, the more God blesses you in a way or another. So I look at an opportunity that also Raila stood for, ensuring that money is sent to the counties in its huge numbers, because people know where the shoe they are wearing pinches most. And therefore, they can be able to put all this. There is a remedy to anyone who is misusing funds. Jail is available for you, waiting and beckoning every moment, because there is law, which he stood for. How many leaders want to pick that line? That is the Kenya that I would want to see. Because if we start thinking about the coalitions that are going to happen, that I think it's going to be a very natural process. There are people that are going to go with Baba, as this is to quote what Fred Gumo said yesterday. There are new leaders.
The long list of casualties.
Yes, the long list of casualties. There are many, and it's long. There are also other leaders emerging, the Babu Owinos of this world. Due to his age, he has the advantage. There are people who want to see things happening in a different way. They have learned from us who are older, and they understand extremely well what is going round. I want to see this unity that had started of the government, that it continues and covers everybody else. The fact that you are not in leadership doesn't mean that you cannot achieve your dream. And we need to. So as we move forward, the kind of leadership that I expect that will be is one that is focused. I expect that the Gen Zs have realized, kumbe, what we were fearing, we shouldn't have feared. We should just continue standing for what is right and be able to do things for God's glory. And opportunities are going to open for the younger people. The older people are going to sit on the side to listen to what needs to be done, led by those who are passionately looking forward to their progress. It's about livelihoods. It's about balancing issues. It's about doing things that the people want. And when you look at go back to the kitendawili approach of Baba. What he would do and start with kitendawili, or even just starting a meeting with it's like a continuation of what you were talking in your room. So I have come to continue in that. I want to see leaders that learn how to communicate best. Leaders are losing positions at every level, not only one, because of lack of communication. We have as many people who take alcohol as many as who go to church. You cannot be a leader and look like you don't care about the others, yet they are still people, and they need to be won over to the direction that is going to lead them to whatever they have to achieve that is going to help their livelihoods. That is the kind of leadership, pulling people together, telling them that I'm part of your story. When he says, higher, it's just hold on what you are dealing with. I have something else, and then you will continue. Just a leadership style that helps people. I look forward to a country that its leaders will communicate based on the people. You don't tell people what they want to do. They already know what they want to do. Another thing that I've also learned over time, you find that election, leadership, politics come and go. When you look at countries like Japan and other countries in Western, whenever there is an election, the bar of leadership, the graph is almost, it just tilts from maybe 30% to 42% of the expectations. And immediately after the election, they go back to the normal line of doing things. The challenge in Kenya is that during elections, expectations rise to 89% because of what they have been promised and because leaders told people what they needed to hear, not what is right to be heard. So the expectations go to 89%, and soon after the election, 1 year, 2 years, it drops to 20 or 10%. And therefore you are in a community that is hopeless, a community that was full of expectation to the leaders because you did not give them the bigger picture. You dealt with the short-termism that we are used to. And therefore, bringing the nation together, working with leaders from all walks of life, appreciating the intergenerational challenges that we have, because the challenges that we had in the 90s are totally different from the ones that we have today. The thinking of the Gen Z is totally different from what we used to think before. They just need to work, they need to see the assignment, they need to understand what is expected of them, and they will deliver, whether they work from home or work from the phone. You are disturbing them to tell them to report at 8 a.m. unless you are a bank. You just want to give them what they expected to do, and they will deliver. Which party today is giving a platform from the youth? Because they come into a party and tomorrow they are forced in a direction and they are told this is the leadership route that you are going to take, as opposed to what is right and what is expected. That intergenerational approach is something that we need to start looking at, and this is the Kenya that I look forward to, as opposed to speculation of who is going to join hands with who.
And Daktari, we'll talk about the environment, which is totally different, but of course, which is quite accommodative because Odinga and his peers had largely succeeded in an oppressive environment, and what this then therefore means in contemporary Kenya. The live pictures coming to you live from the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology in Bondo, where the members of the public are seated waiting for the arrival of the body of the former Prime Minister, which will be laid for the ceremony to officially start, and this will be presided over by President William Ruto, who had accorded the former Premier state funeral during his address to the nation on Wednesday, a proclamation that informs the military honors that the former Prime Minister has been accorded since his death on Wednesday in India. Also, the live pictures coming to you from the Opoda farm still in Bondo in Siaya County, where the military police vehicle is standing by, and you can see the V-shape of the outriders about to make a move. We'll be giving you the details as leaders arrive at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Also, we have members of the security service tight-eyed and making sure that there is no mix-up at the dais where the leadership of the country will be seated, and you can see them saving members of the public from the leaders and directing them to their specific or designated areas for sitting. Also, the rolling still photos of the former Prime Minister. This was during his speech on the 27th of August 2024, when he spoke at State House in Nairobi after he was officially launched as Kenya's candidate by President William Ruto for the African Union Commission chairperson in August, and of course the different photos of the former Prime Minister that we are rolling for you as part of the special coverage that continues here on Citizen Television. This was outside the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi's office when he was received by Musalia Mudavadi, and you can see the arrival of the former Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who is now at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology in his company. The other leadership from Abagusi from Nyamira and Kisii counties. He was here with my colleague Rashid Abdallah, where he laid bare some of the backroom events during the 2022 campaigns and his engagement with the former Prime Minister in 2017 when he was appointed the Interior Cabinet Secretary following the sudden death of then Interior CS Joseph Nkaiseri on the 7th of July 2017, a month before the election, where he talked about how despite the state frustrating Odinga and the opposition National Super Alliance's efforts to hold campaigns in Nairobi, and the laughter that had you will encounter with the former Prime Minister, he said, even despite the challenges. The traffic build-up, the snarl-up of vehicles snaking all the way outside Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. And this is the drone footage from our able videographer. Should be now. This is zooming out here. Shortly we'll be giving you the drone footage. But this is just the traffic build-up outside the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, and which signifies the number of people who are attending this, both members of the public and the leadership of the country. Of course, buses that have taken people from all the way from the county of Mombasa and far-flanked areas. Supporters arrive here to give the former Prime Minister a fitting salute in today's grand send-off, which marks an end of era for Raila Amolo Odinga. Daktari, a lot of activities, as you can see, and which gives it the weight. The Prime Minister had, of course, with the support of other leaders, helped shape the country. When you talk about multipartyism, remains on record as the only MP who resigned following the well-documented differences he had with the party he then belonged to, and sought fresh mandate from the people of Langata constituency. How then, in an environment today that is free, if you look at our constitutional dispensation, can the knowledge that he has imparted be significantly exercised, given that today the state cannot be repressive as it so wishes because of the constraints and the guardrails around our constitutional order? And second, Daktari, who then emerges to fill this void, and how long do you think it can take? Because Odinga's influence was all across board. If you go to Coast, if you go to Northeastern Province, if you go to Nairobi, if you go to Western Kenya, Nyanza was his bedrock. If you go to Central, if you go to the Rift Valley, I mean, there is no political player from all these regions, as I've pointed out, who has not been influenced by Mr. Odinga. Mm-hmm. I mean, how will the next leader, as was the former Prime Minister, the social advocate, take advantage of today's space and cash on the constitutional freedoms that come with our dispensation?
I will define to you the leader who is going to emerge as the best in this country, defined by what Raila did. The next leader is one who is going to continuously listen and be attached to the people as friends from the least to the highest. I am talking of an experience that I would meet Raila at our Baba place, and he has just been shaved and is ready to leave, very well styled and groomed. And I find him at the entrance, at the reception, reaching for his pocket and wallet to pay for the bill. And I walk in and I say, Baba, may I please pay for this bill? And he doesn't find that as an issue. He picks and says, go ahead. And he tells everybody, my friend Isaac is going to pay for my bill. The next leader is one who is able to be available to touch the hearts of people to that kind of a level. The next leader is one who is going to study what has been going on over the years. I just talked about Japan and the tree called Melia volkensi that is supposed to change this country. This relationship has now grown into acacia tree that is going to bring in billions to be able to support that space. The next leader should say, I appreciate what volkensi has done, Mukau. I need now to proceed and support you in the acacia. We now need another tree so that people can be able, because talk about environmental conservation. People will not conserve the environment, but show them how to make money, how to support their livelihoods. They will take that route. This is what Raila believed in. And I am very hesitant to mention names at this level, but I know that Kenyans know who their leader is, one who cares about them, one who is going to be intergenerational, one who is going not to lead his tribal cocoon or their tribal cocoon to be able to change this. And we can be able to talk about our leaders one after the other. But I believe that this must not be the day to do that. We need to be able to bring the country together. We need leaders that are going to deal with issues head on. How many leaders do we see out of just hatred? They are going out to hate the leaders that are existing and create a formation just because they don't like the person that is there, that the agenda is only one in this process that may affect others. And if you ask them the real thing, they know. But it is hatred that may be pushing them to one position or another. And therefore, we need to be able to start thinking, first of all, who is this leader that is going to fight for the Luo community when he is not Luo? Who is this leader that is going to fight the Kalenjin community? And today, maybe you may not have seen a very good example that has been given. The Kalenjin community took 80 bulls to the Luo community, to Baba and his family. That seems a very small act, but I'm telling you, it is deep. Which community is going to give up its position so that it supports the other, so that the right leader emerges beyond all this? I do not mind this story of one term. By the way, I love it very much. Because one term is from where you are seated and what you are doing today. To the ones who want to come and lead, they will call it one term, and proudly so. But also to Ruto, he can call it a one term. That now that Raila has left, it is now my one term to be able to prove what we had planned to do, and everybody will buy into the one term thing, because what is one term after everything else? It's just 1 5-year term. And therefore, it is another one term that is looking for in all this. So it's not about the who. It is about the institution. It is about the morality that you have. It's about the 3 principles that I talked about earlier: trust, loyalty, and responsibility. Which leader in Kenya is going to stand beyond political persuasion and stand for what is right like Raila did? How many of them do we have? He is loved from every community, as you said, in the same way that he is loved in any other way. So leadership is about the values, which we must be able to drive and look forward to growth of the nation.
Daktari, thank you. Let's now cross over to the Jaramogi Odinga University of Science and Technology, where the quintet of Stephen Leto, Emmanuel To, Seth Olale, Laura Otieno, and Sam Gituku are standing by to give us an understanding of what's happening there. Over to you, colleagues. And what's happening there seems that we are almost there. The arrival of the president, which then marks the state funeral procession. What more can you tell us?
expected to make their way here. And of course, the dignitaries have started settling down ahead of the start of the interment program. So there has been a lot of, arrangement. If you see the way people are coming in, the way they are being settled in, the kind of security arrangement so far is impressive. And so far what we have is just entertainment going on before the interment service begins.
Of course, Leto, this thing is starting on time, as had been predicted, and it has been led by the military. And you know, the military operates with military precision, and everything happens according to time. And according to the program that we've already received, is that the family is supposed to arrive from 8 a.m.